like I'm so tired, like my adrenaline, you know, like it was crazy. The crowd was crazy. They loved it. You know.
Okay, going live. And Matt, you can go in 5, 4, 3, 2.
Welcome to the One Fight Night 10 on Prime Video post-event press conference. We're going to start with a statement from the chairman and CEO of One Championship, Chatri Sityodtong, before we open it up to Q&A from the floor to Chatri, Tai Ruotolo, and Sage Northcutt. Chatri.
I just want to thank the fans all over the States. You know, you're really, man, so full of gratitude and appreciation. Like I said, America gave me the opportunity to escape poverty and live the American dream, and to come back here is just, it blows my mind. And the energy today in the stadium, I know we were trending on Twitter, I think number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, depending on the moment of the night. So, man, thank you from the bottom of my heart to all the American fans. And also, of course, we're broadcast live to 179 countries around the world, and thank you to the fans all over the world. I'm sure the numbers, knock on wood, I predict are going to be record-breaking for One. With that, let's open up the Q&A.
Hey, Chatri. Yeah, great show. I just want to start by asking about Rodtang. Incredible star, you know, not star making, but star extending performance. But he says he wants Jonathan Haggerty next at bantamweight. Are you willing to do that fight, or would you like to give it to Liam Harrison, who I spoke to earlier, says he thinks he should be the man to fight Haggerty in the UK?
You know, I haven't thought that far. I know everybody wants to fight Haggerty. Nongo wants to fight Haggerty. Liam wants to fight Haggerty, and now Rodtang wants to fight Haggerty. So I need to sit down with my team and figure out what's the best. But I mean, all those are incredible fights. So I don't see it having to be. I don't think it has to be either or. I think we can do all of those fights. It's just going to be a series of fights. Yeah. But I don't know who's going to be first and all that stuff.
And
but obviously, those are. I mean, those 4 names are the greatest strikers on the planet, pound for pound, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts. And all those fights, I think, are going to end in KOs. So it's just it's going to be electrifying for the fans.
There was a huge shock on a night full of incredible finishes, but I think the most shocking was Kadestam, you know, knocking out Roberto Soldic. Where does that leave Soldic? You know, he came in to One Championship with a lot of hype. I know there was a big push behind him, but it's going to be tough for him to bounce back from that. Yeah,
I hope I hadn't talked to the doctors, and I hope Soldic is doing well. I think he's at the hospital now, but you know, everyone has an off night. I don't want to say one thing or another. You know, everyone has an off night. Kadestam was a beast. I mean, he took so many hard shots, and he came out. So you got to give props. I mean, Kadestam did a phenomenal job.
All right, I just had one more for you, Chatri. Ong Lan Sang, I spoke to him after the fight. He says his contract's coming up with One. You know, are you happy to extend him? What's going on there?
Yeah, you know, I love Ong La. So you know, yeah, I mean, it's been a great partnership. So I think my team will sit down with him and figure things out.
Next question.
Hey, Chatri, mixedmartialarts.com. Cody Merrill here. So you talked about the fans. You said it was a fantastic night here in Denver. What does the future hold for One Championship in the U.S.? Maybe a bigger arena, you know, maybe getting more fans?
Yeah, you know, I'm kicking myself because, you know, my team was saying, yeah, let's do a 15,000, 20,000 seater, you know, and I was like, nah, our brand is just nascent in the States. You know, I honestly had no idea that we had a fan base in the States because we've only been, you know, on Amazon Prime once a month. So I'm sitting down, the Amazon leadership team was here. We're sitting down tomorrow morning at 10 a.m., to figure out ways to really deepen, broaden, and expand the partnership. I'm sure the numbers are going to be record high for Amazon, but they're very, very happy with our numbers since we launched. So it's mind-blowing to me that we have so many fans. Like, you know, the fans were rabid. It was clear in the stadium that the fans had been following our athletes, like they knew the story. You know, it wasn't just like, oh, new timers, oh, let me just check out One Championship. It was like hardcore, rabid fans. I mean, I was shocked, and yeah. So I think you will see. I mean, we already have huge plans for the U.S. I'm not ready to break the news now, but we have huge plans for the U.S. We want to sit down, obviously, with Amazon and make sure it's aligned with what they want and go from there. But I think you're going to see many more shows on ground, possibly this year or next year. I mean, for sure next year, possibly this year.
Is there any possibility that maybe you bring the One Friday night fights over here?
Anything is possible, 100%. Anything is possible right now. I mean, I think this event was an overwhelming success. Again, look at the viewership metrics. Just look at the trending social metrics. Looking at the stadium, the fact that we sold out several weeks in advance. I think when we put up the ticket link when we first announced the event, within 10 days we were 70% sold out with zero marketing. So there's a clear rabid fan base for and our brand and our product, the home of martial arts, is really resonating with American fans, and it's something totally new, totally different from anything that exists in the market, and it's completely unique anywhere in the world. So I think there's a huge opportunity here.
Hey guys, Tom Taylor with Bleacher Report and South China Morning Post. Excuse me. I'll start with you, Sage. Amazing performance tonight. I think you really surprised a lot of people with the ground game. But after 4 years away, is there a part of you that kind of wanted to spend a little bit more time in there? There was less than a minute in the end.
Man, yeah, it was definitely pretty fast. I've been working my grappling, though, a lot. So over the last few years, I've been really honing in on it and working it a ton. So I'm really excited that I got to win out there and get a submission and got to show some of that grappling.
Definitely, and I know you're a classy guy, not one to make a lot of call-outs, but is there anybody you'd kind of like to fight in the next fight, and any style matchups that interest you?
Yeah, well, I did have a fight. I did have one set up with Shinya Oki, and I think that'd be a super exciting one. And looking for my finishers now, you can see my grappling's improved a lot, and I got to show some grappling. He's a great grappler. I think that'd be a really exciting match.
Yeah, I think that would be a fantastic fight. So I want to make that fight. I just got to talk to Shinya. Yeah, it would be great. Shinya versus Sage, potentially in Japan. It'll blow up Japan.
I'll go to you, Ty. You know a thing or two about grappling, of course. Did you get a chance to see Sage's win, and if so, what did you think?
Yeah, for sure. That's the first thing I told him. Yeah, I was super, super stoked to see that. I definitely wasn't expecting it, to be honest. A heel hook from Sage, He's definitely been improving the ground game. So, yeah, I was stoked to see it. Congrats, brother.
And a follow-up for you. I know you had some call-outs kind of in the works earlier in the week when you were speaking to my colleague Nick. Can you just kind of go over what you're hoping is next for you?
Yeah, my goal every time I step on the mats is to, inspire people to do jiu-jitsu, to embrace the sport. And, it's such a sick sport with so many, different reasons to enter. And, I feel like my performance tonight, I didn't really, show what I was capable of, and I didn't show, and I didn't feel like I inspired the way I should have, So, I'm just going to look back on my match tonight, make sure I fix all my mistakes so that I never win in that fashion again, I didn't really... not super stoked on the win, But with that being said, I want to fight Marigali next no matter what. I feel like I can take bigger guys, and he's the guy I want to take.
Chatri, is that something you'd be interested in making happen?
Definitely, and Marigali has accepted already, so it's something we've been planning. So, and obviously he's red hot, one of the best grapplers in the world. But Ty's ambition is to be the future GOAT, and I think he has all the right tools, all the right athletic, natural abilities. And the excitement factor. I mean, he comes to finish. It's just unfortunate that today things didn't work out in terms of what we try to do with a submission grappling product is get two people who want to finish. When you get that kind of mindset and two grapplers who are very aggressive and want to finish, instead of one person playing defense. You see, if you want to stall, and maybe that's too harsh of a word, but if you just want to counter and do it like anti-jiu-jitsu, it doesn't matter how great your opponent. It doesn't matter how you're great. You could be the world's best grappler, but if you're up against a guy who reasonably knows how to just stall and anti-jiu-jitsu, it's very hard to get anything going. So that was my disappointment of today's match. Just to be very frank.
Yeah, and one more for you, if I may. You've talked a bit about the atmosphere in here tonight, the appetite of the fans for one championship. But could you talk specifically about the reception that Rodtang and Stamp got? They came a long way from Thailand. We know they're famous over there, but I don't know if you heard, Rodtang came out during Mighty Mess's fight, and they were chanting his name in the middle of Mighty Mess's fight. They looked like they were ready to pull him into the crowd. I mean, what did you think of the reaction these two Thais got?
Here's the thing. The home of martial arts, people, and it used to irk me when I used to live here, that people are like, this guy is the greatest striker in the world. And I'm like, I don't want to name names, but there were folks in other organizations that were called the greatest striker in the world, and it's just not true. You want to see elite level. You saw Rodtang. I don't know if everyone caught it. The first round, he caught the guy. Every time he caught the push kick, the guy would do a spinning elbow. So on that third one, he blocked and countered with an elbow right in the guy. And that is technical mastery at the highest levels. Nobody in any organization, American organization, can do that. That is literally, you have to have 350 fights, professional fights, to be able to have that kind of intuition, that kind of timing. And again, I can't wait to showcase our entire striking roster, truly the best on the planet. Just like our grappling roster is the best on the planet. Just like our MMA product is the best on the planet. And I believe it. I'm not, there's a lot of, how can I say, Twitter hype in America, and so a lot gets lost about how good is somebody. I don't want to name names and throw anyone under the bus, but there are athletes that if you talk behind closed doors with any of the top athletes of any organization, say, that guy's the biggest star, is he really good? But if you talk to casual, they'll be like, yeah, that guy's amazing. But it's because he has a good mouth. Doesn't mean it's good. So here we're much more purist. I'm a lifelong martial artist. I literally handpick everyone. When we're going after the Ruotolo brothers, I literally said that's who's going to represent jiu-jitsu, and it's going to blow up all over the world. When we recruited Sage, same thing. I felt like he could be the first true global superstar that was like a superhero, like a good guy, like a Superman. I could see him blowing up in China and Japan and etc. So yeah.
Thanks, guys, and congrats to all of you.
Hi, basically clean from Reddit MMA. Sage, Ty, I want to thank you guys for coming on and doing an AMA with us on Reddit MMA. Our users absolutely loved it, so we have nothing but great feedback on that. Ty, I want to start with you. There's been multiple interviews you've talked about where you've talked about wanting to transition to MMA. What is your timeline on that, and what's been the most difficult thing as part of your preparation into that transition?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think my brother is probably going to transition before me for sure. He wants to fight every day, so I think he's definitely going to make the transition by the end of the year. And then for me, I'm probably going to make my transition next year. I want to beat some guys in jiu-jitsu, Marigali and Gordon that being, before I go transition to MMA fully. So I still got a couple goals I need to make sure they happen, and then from there I'll go to MMA.
One more follow-up for you, Ty. How much smoke is there to the Gordon Ryan fire?
Right now, there's a lot of smoke. You talk a lot of shit, so, I don't really like the guy, to be honest with you. I'm excited to fight him.
Thanks. And Sage, you had a really gruesome injury and you took a lot of time off, but what I noticed was you looked incredibly sharp. Most people that take a lot of time off, they don't quite look as sharp as what you did. So what did you do in your preparation that helped to get you to where you were tonight, where, you looked like the old Sage that never took any time off?
Man, I think one of the big things was the mindset. So, of course, I've been training, staying sharp, but when I go out there, I'm looking for a finish, and I think I've just been training with a great team, great coaches, really been working all around to be very well-rounded and fix little holes in my games, and then just been really staying in the gym, staying sharp.
Emily May with Sportskeeda. Chatri, my question is for you. What was your proudest moment of the night, and is there someone in particular that you were very proud of their performance tonight?
That's. I think I have to say Sage, because that comeback story. The fans didn't get to see what he really went through. I after he got knocked out, I went to the hospital, and I was like, man, this is going to take a long time. And then, at one point he called me and said, Chatri, I'm gonna hang it up. And when he tried to come back, he had nerves still, And so I went up to Marcus' father, and I was like very emotional. Sage could have easily quit. And that's the thing, we at the whole martial arts, we really want to be a platform to inspire everyone to dream more, do more, be more in life. And I know it sounds corny, but that's truly what I believe in my heart, that these are superheroes, and their journeys, their adversity, and overcoming can inspire anybody. And it's not that I want everyone to become a fighter or a martial artist, but they can draw inspiration in their own life. I want to be a doctor, I want to be an engineer, or I failed my first college exam, or whatever it is, right? And that's why I'm also very proud that we announced the Buddies over bullies.org program in conjunction with Tom DeBlas. It's like, you look around the whole world, and especially you see in the States, young kids committing suicide and stuff like that. It's just crazy, 10 years old, and social media has done a lot of harm, right? There's a lot of good of social media, but there is some harm. And so there's a lot of things I want to do with this platform, with our superheroes, and tell their story. So I would say Sage. He definitely had the hardest journey back.
Thank you,
brother.
All right, last question for this group over here. I think it's for Sage.
Sage, how you doing? This is Darren Eady with Fight Camp Media. My question is, most stand-up fighters who really focus on stand up, they'll do anti-grappling or anti-jiu-jitsu to get right back on their feet. What in your mind felt that I want to stay on the ground, I want to go for a submission? What was your training like to make you think that first versus training back up and wanting to, do it in the hands?
So I've been working the grappling quite a bit, but being offensive too. I figured I want to be a complete athlete out there and not just one aspect of the sport. So down there, I was really looking for a finish. I mean, that's kind of my mindset going in was I want to finish my opponent and want to do it any way possible. And I saw the opening when he stood up, and that's when I decided to take it.
I'm glad to see it. Welcome back.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we're going to transition to the next group of athletes. Thank you so much, Ty and Sage. You guys are good to go.
Amazing. Let me know when you come back. We'll do the faster round.
Okay, yes, sir.
มันยากก็เปล่าตอนแบบหายใจไม่ออกยกมือเอาไว้มาโอเคปกติดี How are you, brother?
All right, we got Stamp Fairtex and Mikey Musumeci joining Chatri. Do we have a first question?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. Dan Cool, Combat Press. Good to see you all here tonight. Stamp, first question for you. Elise was giving you a run for your money in the first round, and she was landing a lot of hard shots, but you landed the shot that counted. What keeps you in the game like that? It looked like you were kind of taking some heat there, and then you came out on top with a very solid shot.
ก็ถามว่ายกแรกมันอลิสมันมาแรงแล้วก็มันแบบสูสีแล้วก็มันสแตมอาจจะหายใจไม่ออกแล้วก็อยู่คิดยังไงตอนนั้นแล้วก็อยู่กลับมาได้ยังไงแบบให้น็อกมัน
ก็คือตอนที่โดนไทแองเกิลอะค่ะก็มันยังโดนไม่สุดอยู่แล้วก็พยายามให้เขาเอาขาออกเองค่ะแล้วก็พอมันกลับมาได้ก็กลายเป็นเกมของแตม
So the triangle wasn't really on because it was on her head, and then so she knew she just had to buy time to pull her head out, and so she just bought some time. So she wasn't in any danger because her arm wasn't in there.
Okay, Mikey, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Very much more active than your opponent. It was like you were constantly on offense; he was constantly on defense. Is that the game plan going into this? I mean, obviously with the rules set and. In one, you get awarded for going for those attacks, but I think that's just how you are in general. Is that just how you train? Constant attacks?
Yeah, like every second I'm in a match, I'm attacking a submission to finish the match. There's not 1 second in this match I wasn't attacking to finish. So I just kept attacking. Kind of like striking, you're looking for the knockout punch. I'm just attacking finishes every second, and then I finally got my finish at the end.
Chatri, did either of these athletes surprise you tonight?
No, I mean, I again, like, these are the very, very best in the world. I mean, I genuinely believe that Mikey right now is the pound for pound greatest on the planet, technically speaking. Okay, I'm not talking about rhetoric and marketing and all trash talk. I'm talking about if you look at his jiu-jitsu, and we had jiu-jitsu royalty in the stadium today. We had Roger Gracie, Marcus Buchecha, we had Eddie Bravo, we had literally the royalty, and everyone thinks Mikey is literally the GOAT on the planet. He's the greatest in terms of, if you look at pure jiu-jitsu, technical ability. I don't know, I counted like almost 30 attempts, submission attempts, and all Osama could do was defend. The only thing that I would say about Mikey is he probably shouldn't have spent so much time on the leg locks. He should have gone top position faster. That's just small critique, And for Stamp, I was very impressed with Elise. Elise was very game, and she wasn't afraid of Stamp, and she got at it. So you got to give a huge props. Elise was a very tough opponent, but of course, Stamp is a Muay Thai world champion and a kickboxing world champion. So if the longer you stand with Stamp, the chances of you getting knocked out are only increase.
This one's for Mikey. First of all, congratulations, bro, on retaining the belt. I think it's fair to say that was the biggest reaction to a submission grappling match in one championship so far. How honored are you to get such an incredible reaction from the American fans? It was incredible out there.
Yeah, it was definitely good feedback. I felt the energy from the crowd. Being here in America was amazing, and it definitely was exciting, the submission grappling match. You know, that's the first thing I asked him when he came into the cage. Was it exciting? Was it fine? Because I was so nervous, you know, because submission grappling can be boring for viewership if they don't know what it is. So I really wanted to make sure that the fans could appreciate and enjoy it just like the other martial arts on the one card.
And you had a quite emotional post-fight speech as well. It sounds like you went through a tough time, and you know, is there anything you want to say, add to it? You know, what was it like the last few months for you? It sounds really tough.
Yeah, the only thing I'll say is that if I get through these times, everyone can. You know, you just have to be patient, and it's very hard, you know, but I don't know, I just feel so blessed that I'm here, and I got emotional at the end of the match because I just reflected on the last 2 months. It was just a mix of me training, praying, and just asking God to help me, and I'm back.
And you said the pizza and pasta's on you. Where is it? Is it coming now?
It has to be good pizza and pasta for me to make it on me.
And just one for Stamp. You now have an interim title shot against Ham So-hee. When do you want to do this fight, and where do you want to do it?
สแตมป์จะชิงแชมป์กับเซียวฮัมฮีและสแตมป์อยากชิงเมื่อไหร่เพราะว่าพี่จะจัดให้ interim title shot ใช่ไหมเพราะแองเจล่าตอนนี้เขาอยู่ที่บ้าน
ค่ะก็หนูแล้วแต่คุณชาตรีเลยค่ะว่าจะจัดเมื่อไหร่หนูพร้อมเสมอค่ะ
She says she'll leave up to me and she's ready anytime.
What are you expecting from that fight? Do you think Ham So-hee is going to be the toughest opponent you've ever fought? I mean, how much respect do you have for her?
ยูว่าเซียวฮีฮัมเป็นคู่ชกที่อันตรายมากที่สุดในประวัติศาสตร์ของสแตมป์เปล่าใน MMA
หนูคิดว่าน่าจะเป็นแองเจล่าลีมากกว่าค่ะที่อันตรายที่สุดสำหรับหนู
She says Angeli is much tougher. The toughest opponent she's ever faced is Angeli.
And last one for you, Stamp. What was it like getting that reaction from the American fans? They absolutely loved you here in Denver.
แฟนๆอเมริกันมันแบบเขาชอบ สแตมป์มากแล้วรู้สึกยังไง
รู้สึกดีใจค่ะเพราะว่าตอนออกมาหนูได้ยินเสียงกรี๊ดดังมากแล้วมันทำให้แบบมันมีพลังมากค่ะ
She said she was very surprised and very inspired when the crowd was, you know, going crazy when she came out. It gave her so much energy to perform.
Over here, Mikey. Mikey, you're obviously an international star when it comes to the grappling. What does it feel like to come over here to the U.S., you know, your home country, and actually perform the way that you did?
Oh, it's amazing. You know, I grew up competing in the U.S., born and raised in the U.S., so competing back home and bringing one championship to the U.S., it was just a very special night for me. And that's why I put so much pressure on myself for this match, and it was just so surreal.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
This one's for Stamp. Stamp, obviously a great performance, but what was your favorite part of this trip outside of the cage?
ที่อเมริกา3 อาทิตย์ใช่ไหม3 อาทิตย์แล้วก็อยู่ชอบอะไรมากที่สุดในสำหรับอเมริกาวัฒนธรรมหรือว่าอะไร
หนูชอบสโนว์ค่ะเพราะว่ามันเป็นครั้งแรกที่หนูเห็น
She loved the snow because it's the first time she ever experienced snow.
And this just last one for Chachi. Chachi, you talk about the values of One Championship and what One Championship stands for. You have 2 athletes up here who really represent the brand. Just talk about how proud you are of their performances tonight.
Man, I'm so inspired by them, you know. If you look at their life journeys, you know, Stamp was dirt poor. I mean, like living on less than $1 a day, you know, when she was a child, got bullied, picked up Muay Thai. And in Thailand, you know, girls don't do Muay Thai. So she really bucked the trend. They weren't even allowed, by the way, in Thailand until recently, women were not even allowed to compete in the major stadiums like Lumpini and Ratchanan. And literally only in the recent, because of One Championship promoting Stamp, and she became a superstar, that the walls for women broke down in Thailand. And then you look at Mikey, you know, he's a kid who's been super nerd his whole life. You know, it's the truth. You know, he's a wonderful, as I mentioned, sweetheart with a heart of gold. But you know, he didn't have the easiest childhood, and he suffers depression from all his life. And so anyone who's suffering depression, you know, if Mikey can do it, you can do it. Anyone who's a girl, you know, in impossible odds, you look at Sam Fairtex. So for me, again, I know it sounds corny, but this is from truly from the bottom of my heart. It's like I built this platform. And the hashtag We Are One. because I really want to inspire humanity to dream more, do more, be more with our superheroes. So this transcends much more than martial arts. Yes, they are the two best in the world. There's no question about it. These are the best of the best. But what they represent for humanity. I'll tell you, if parents all across the States, all across the world their kids put up posters of Mikey or Stamp, the parents are like, great, those are great role models. Not because they want their kids to become fighters, but because, hey, you want to be a doctor? You got to overcome adversity like Mikey did. You want to become, a CEO in the future? You got to do what Stamp did, and take risks and sacrifice for a dream. These are the much more powerful messages that I want to spread throughout the world.
Hi, my name is Shane Crawford with Fightbook MMA. I live here in Denver, so I want to thank you for choosing this city for one's U.S. debut. I think the crowd genuinely enjoyed everything that we saw tonight. My first question is for Stamp, sort of piggybacking on what you just said, Chatri. Muay Thai is sort of growing here in the U.S., and there are a lot of young, aspiring athletes, certainly the females. What kind of inspirational message does Stamp have for those young ladies?
นักมวยหญิงที่อเมริกาที่ซ้อมมวยไทยอยู่หรือสแตมป์อยากมีคำแบบให้ช่วยตุ้นเขาแบบมีคำอะไร
น่าจะเป็นคำว่าอย่าท้อค่ะอย่าท้อแล้วก็รักในสิ่งที่ตัวเองชอบเพราะว่าจะต้องรักในสิ่งที่ตัวเองทำก่อนไม่งั้นทำทุกอย่างมันออกมาไม่ได้ดี
You have to truly love what you do and just never give up. It's very simple advice, but she says truly love what you do.
Great, thank you, Stamp. My next question is for you, Mikey. Again, kind of piggybacking on that message of inspiration and hope. You have a lot of eyes watching this right now. What do you have to say to the American fans who are getting to watch one for the first time maybe this evening?
I hope everyone enjoyed the show. We all put our butts down and we worked hard for this card. And I think that one championship is the future and the current. And I think that American fans are going to love this and they're going to appreciate martial arts all across the disciplines, I think that's what's so special about one. And again, bringing the whole world together. It isn't just the U.S., it's the whole world. And traveling the world with jiu-jitsu, like meeting so many different people, different religions, cultures, because we shared jiu-jitsu, it connected us. So I feel like one is connecting the whole world. And I feel like you could feel that when you're watching. From all the different countries, there's people on these cards, So I don't know, it's just a very special event.
Great, thank you.
All right, last question over here.
Basically clean Reddit MMA. Thank you guys for coming on and doing an AMA. I also wanted to thank you guys. Last question is for Stamp. I noticed a couple times in the fight, your opponent, when she disengaged from you, she wasn't fully out of range. And on that finishing sequence, you didn't hesitate. You immediately fired that liver kick. Is that something that, excuse me, is that something that you noticed in preparation, or is that something that you adjusted to in real time?
ตอนอลิสมาคลินช์กับสแตมป์แล้วก็ตอนเขาดึงออกเขาดึงไม่ออกทันแบบใกล้คือแบบไกลมากคือแบบสแตมป์ยังเตะได้คือแบบก่อนชกนี่แล้วอยู่ดูเทปของเขาอยู่นึกว่าเขาทำผิดอย่างนี้ป่ะหรือว่าแค่ในเวลาอยู่ชก
มันเป็นจังหวะค่ะมันเป็นจังหวะที่แบบถ้าเป็นมวยไทยมันจะเป็นเขาเรียกว่าอะไรลูกตามน้ำค่ะก็เลยเตะเข้าไปแล้วมันก็จังหวะโดนท้องพอดี
She just says that in Muay Thai this is a very it's common practice, right? When someone's in close range and someone breaks, you fire off a weapon. So that was just it was instinct. It was years and years of training.
Thank you.
Okay, that's the conclusion of Mikey and Stamp. So thank you guys for joining the Q&A. We're still waiting on, I believe, Rodtang and DJ to clear medicals. The plan is still to have them on stage. In the interim, does anyone have any questions just for Chatri?
This one just came to me, Chatri, and I hope I'm not stirring the pot too much here, but one championship is brand new to North America. There are plenty of other combat sports promotions on this side of the world that are, I would say, much more established just because they've had more time. Do you think the CEOs, the decision makers at these promotions were watching this card tonight? And if so, what do you think they thought? What are they thinking right now that you've made this debut?
100% they were all watching. I mean, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. But I just don't see them as competition genuinely. Again, look at the viewership numbers as per the Nielsen Industry Report. And if you don't know anything, just go to Facebook and look at how many followers the other competitors have. And you realize that there's two global giants. It is what it is, and then the skill level is completely different. I mean, there's a reason why other organizations are struggling, and why our numbers continue to skyrocket, right? So, without sounding arrogant or cocky, I do believe that, at one, being the home of martial arts and the authenticity that comes with it from the birthplace of martial arts in Asia. And the fact that my team and I are so passionate about what we do, and that's why in 11 years we are essentially neck and neck with UFC globally. Although they had a 20-year head start on us.
And then just in terms of breaking new ground in new countries, Edgar Tabarez had a great response from the Mexican fans here in Denver all week. We've been talking about Jonathan Haggerty and Liam Harrison potentially fighting in the UK. Are there any other countries that are sort of on your radar for debuts for One Championship?
Man, that's just literally that I talked with my team yesterday about this. Like, our fan base in the UK is blowing up. Our fan base now with signed Takeru, we have a chance to really blow up our brand in Japan and become the number one, and mainstream. Abima TV and I, the largest digital TV player in Japan with 80 million subscribers out of a country of 120 million population. There's so many. And in China, our metrics are exploding. I mean, every time we have a Chinese athlete on the card, the numbers just go crazy. I mean, we trended. Every time a Chinese athlete's on the card, we trend number 3, number 4, number 5 in China in a country of 1.4 billion. And whenever a title fight involving a Chinese athlete, we trend number 1. And even tonight on Twitter in the U.S., we trended anywhere from number 1 to number 8, depending on the fight and depending on the time at night. I'd like to see global numbers. We get the preliminary Amazon numbers tomorrow morning, right before I meet with the Amazon leadership team. What it is? We are now at takeoff velocity. That's what I feel. We've struggled for many years, and actually with the COVID, our numbers skyrocketed, and then just. I get data, across all of our platforms, every country around the world, and I just feel like we're hitting our stride and crossing this major inflection points in popularity across many different countries simultaneously. It's just happening.
And then one more from me, if I may. We know now that Stamp and Ham So-hee are fighting for the interim atomweight title. You've mentioned that Katastam is in line for an interim title shot at welterweight. Christian Lee, of course, though, holds the lightweight title as well. Any sense of what will happen in that division? I know Okra Yoon had a big win tonight. Who's involved in that conversation for the interim title there?
I'd have to sit down, because I honestly had given a lot of thought, and I still want to sit down and talk with Christian as well about what his plans are. I literally haven't talked to Angela or Christian about fights, right? I just been trying to support them and their family through this whole grieving and healing process. We are going to be announcing a Victoria Lee scholarship, and Victoria Lee. We want to keep her legacy alive because she represented everything that was beautiful about the world, but everything also about one. She in her short life, in her 3 fights at one, who she embodied in and out of the arena was truly exemplifies one. And so I have spoken with the Lee family about how do we immortalize her in a way, so her legacy lives forever.
Thank you.
Some more for me, if that's all right, Chatri.
Yes, of course.
I hear you're going to Tokyo next week for a big press conference with Takeru. Is that right?
Yes. How did you man? I don't
I
know.
hear things.
You're like things before I do. Yes, I'm flying to Japan tomorrow. Tomorrow. Yeah. No, the day after tomorrow, for a big press conference in Japan. Yeah.
Can you just talk a little bit about the process of that signing? How long has it been in the works, and what are you expecting from him?
We talked to Takeru the minute he let everyone know he's a free agent, and we gave him space. We just said, hey, look, if you want to fight the best in the world, it's at one. If you want to get paid the best in the world, it's at one. And he spent time looking here and there, and he wanted an easy fight, so he went and signed a one-fight deal, and then eventually he came full round and signed. And then his number one fight that he wants is Rodtang. He wants to fight Rodtang.
Yeah, I asked you about that at the press conference, and you said you want to do that fight in Japan, but do you think he'll get a warm-up fight first before you put those two together? Because Rodtang wants Haggerty as well. Would you maybe consider giving Takeru someone else in the meantime before you can make that fight?
I'll have to go talk to Takeru. I want to see what he wants to do and stuff, but I think he really wants to fight Rodtang. And right now, Takeru is the biggest combat sports star in Japan, full stop, the biggest. He and Tenshin, right? But in terms of kickboxing, definitely by far the biggest star, because Tenshin moved on to boxing. And I think there's a lot of interest in Japan for Takeru versus Rodtang, because Rodtang beat Tenshin and Tenshin beat Takeru. So there's this kind of like, triangle, and Takeru gets his star back by beating Rodtang.
Does that end the Superlek Rodtang fight for a while?
No. So Superlek was here, obviously, and he wants to fight Rodtang, and many experts believe that he is the best pound for pound striker on the planet, right? So, and then of course, there's many people who believe Rodtang is. So it's that's also another super fight that would blow up the world again and really blow up Muay Thai, So.
All right, I think that's a good segue actually to introduce DJ and Rodtang onto the stage. So if DJ and Rodtang want to come up to the stage, we can kick off the Q&A for them.
Whatever, man.
Your choice,
you're
DJ.
You're the champ, bro.
All right, thank you guys for joining us. I think we have our first question here.
Hi, this is Darren Eady with Fight Camp Media. This is a question for DJ. You did it. You said you're going to do it. Now you're on the other side of this. How are you feeling right now?
I feel good. I was grateful to get the W. I really wanted to finish. I train extremely hard to finish in training camp. That's why I push myself so hard, is to look for that finish. And the second time we fought, I was able to break his body down, get him flinching, and caught him with the right hand and landed the knee. This time he was more not as jumpy, and he was trying to walk me into a flying knee and his elbows. That's what he did the second fight. So I'm happy with my performance. I beat him up a lot in the clinch, and I was hurting him a lot. And he did a good job of holding, and Herb D did a good job of breaking this up, but at the same time I was like, Herb, I'm banging the body up, giving my opportunity to get his hands down, and I tried to go airborne and hit him with the knee to the chin, and I was shocked. I thought I would knock him out, but when I watched the replay of it, I hit him in the throat, and I was like, damn it. So just off by, just inches.
My second question is, when did you realize that a clinch game is what he was looking to do? That he was, clinching a lot?
I love the clinch game. I lived there. I train with the best. The Wizard. He has a nasty clinch, and we like to live there. So I prefer to be in the clinch because I don't have to play with windows of opportunity. If I step this way, he throws a hook, I run into it, right? So, and when we're trying to disengage, I was trying to land the elbow, and I hit him with the right hand when he ducked his head out. But like I said, I think he was more durable, more not overextending himself, because when I hit him the second fight, he threw the left hook, and then I ducked down and I hit him. So he was overextending. His body was in the right position to precipitate the energy. That's why he got knocked out the second time. The third time, every single time, he didn't really overextend a lot this time.
Baldoir with Cage Side Press. My first question is for Mighty Mouse. Kairat Akhmatov won tonight, and he obviously has a win over Moraes. Moraes has a win over him. I mean, have you looked at him? Have you scoped him out as the next opponent? He has a big win streak, potential next fight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think Kairat Akhmatov's on a 6-fight win streak. I love when people are on win streak because I love taking away from them. Kairat's an amazing athlete, very, very strong. I saw him and Reese McLaren fight in the World Grand Prix back in 2019, I believe. And he's a good wrestler. I think when I fight him, I'm excited for a new challenge because he brings something different to the table. With Adriano, who's a longer, and Kairat's a little bit bigger than me. He's probably bigger than me, like as an athlete. I weighed in at 133, and it was super easy to make that weight. So, but I'm looking forward to the challenge.
Thanks, wow, did he just say he's not going to retire?
I mean, we'll see. Like when I go home and talk
That's
to my
music
wife,
to my ears, bro. That's music. I'm like, oh, DJ's back. All right.
We'll see. I'm still young. Like, and talking to my peers, talking to Uriah Faber, I'm gonna reach out to GSP. I'm gonna reach out to Khabib Nurmagomedov. I'm gonna talk to these guys. I'm like, why did you guys stop? Like those guys could have kept on fighting. And there comes a point in time, I'm 36 years old. And, do I just keep on doing this, giving other athletes the opportunity to beat me and add to their legacy or whatever? So there's a lot of stuff I got to, muster up. And to go on a rant real quick, the reason why I had these feelings, week 4 and week 5 was probably the hardest time in all my training camp. Like I was, back in the day when I would fight for my world title fights, I remember when I was getting ready to fight Wilson Hayes, I would have nightmares that Wilson Hayes would get my back. Like I'd be like, he's going to get my back. I didn't have nightmares when I was getting ready to fight Adriano. I was having nightmares about what I'm going to do after I'm done fighting. And so I like to listen to my feelings and try to understand, like, hey, why am I having nightmares about what I'm going to do after fighting when I have an opponent to train for? So that's where all these feelings harbor from. And I was like, this might be my last fight. I need to take a step back as an athlete and look at what I'm going to do after fighting. Because I can't keep on fighting. I mean, that's true, but it takes a lot of energy away from other projects that can take care of me after I'm done fighting. So that's where that comes from, guys.
And my second question is for, a bit of both Rodtang and Chatri. The fans in America, Muay Thai is not traditionally an American sport, but Rodtang and Stamp leading the way, you've grown this, multi-dimensional organization with different sports. And do you feel that Rodtang is the forefront of that, of building Muay Thai in America for the first time, a base where Muay Thai can become big for American fans that have never really seen it before?
Yes, for sure. There's a few stars that we have on our roster, but Rodtang is definitely one of the. I think he's going to be, and he already is. If you look at his fan base, I think he has 2.5 million followers. Half of them are from America. He doesn't even speak the language, and it's because he has a charisma. Obviously, he's pound for pound one of the greatest strikers on the planet, if not the greatest striker on the planet. He comes and he entertains and he knocks people out. He has everything to be, the next big global superstar. Let me ask you when you ถังยูว่าแบบถังจะเป็นคนที่แรกเป็นแบบซูเปอร์สตาร์ทั่วโลกสำหรับมวยไทยแล้วก็ให้ช่วยทุกคนแบบสนใจแบบซ้อมหรือว่าดูมวยไทยหรือเปล่าอะไรต่างฮะต้องตอบนะครับ
ก็ผมรู้สึกดีใจก่อนตอนแรกที่ได้มาชกที่อเมริกาแล้วก็ได้เป็นตัวแทนมวยไทยแล้วก็ทำความสำเร็จแล้วก็เอาป้องกันแชมป์มวยไทยได้แล้วก็ผมรู้สึกดีใจมากที่มวยไทยของเราเนี่ยจะโด่งดังไปทั่วโลกนะผมต้องขอบคุณทุกคนที่ให้การต้อนรับในรูปแบบมวยไทยมากๆผมก็ไม่รู้จะพูดยังไงมากก็อยากให้ทุกคนนึกถึงมวยไทยมากๆแล้วก็อยากให้ทุกคนสนับสนุนมวยไทยผมทำหน้าที่ตัวแทนที่ดีได้เท่านี้ครับ
Yeah, he was really thrilled at the opportunity to fight in America. And show the beauty of Muay Thai, and he really wants to elevate it as an art. He's truly, believes in Muay Thai, loves Muay Thai, and he wants the world to see the beauty of Muay Thai too.
And very last one, back to the GOAT, Demetrious Johnson. Arguable GOAT. And so people argue that. You're obviously at the center of those debates. What do you think is the most important criteria? There's things like resume, longevity, and accomplishments, and just overall skill set. What do you think is the most important of those for who the GOAT should be for MMA?
Honestly, it's always going to be based on the person's perspective. For me, when I like to look at the guys who are on that, GOAT list, I like to see their complete skill set. Can they grapple? Can they strike? Can they clinch? Can they wrestle? That's what I like to. For my list. And like when I look at myself as one of those guys, I've shown in my skill set I can grapple, I got a great clinch, I got great striking, I got great jiu-jitsu, I'm very creative in the cage. So yeah, I think it's based on people's perspective.
Yeah, I just want to echo that. If you just strip away all the accolades and all the achievements of, let's say, the top 4 or 5 names that are always considered amongst GOAT, and then if you look at their skill set across the board, striking, wrestling, submission, grappling, and cage work and transitions, that's one aspect. And if you look at their athleticism, if you look at their raw, cardio, explosiveness, balance, speed, and then you look at their fight IQ, I mean, DJ is the GOAT. I mean, there's no, and I'm speaking as a lifelong martial artist, not just some, random businessman. I've been doing martial arts my entire life. So that's how I judge it. Like, there are other people who've also achieved a lot in the sport, but they're still one-dimensional, or they're still, they're still lacking. Whereas with DJ, you genuinely, if you talk amongst the martial arts community, martial artists, more people will say he's the GOAT than other. But if you talk to the casual, who again falls from maybe rhetoric or marketing, these are different things. And again, that's why we're so excited, as a whole martial arts, bringing the entire world to America, the very, very best as a purist product. You get every single discipline, the very, very best in the world, whether it's Rodtang or whether it's DJ, and there is no marketing hype behind that. It is literally, these are the best on the planet. And there's no argument about it. So that's something we want to bring to American fans with our authenticity, right? Again, I think there's a lot of marketing and misinformation about how good certain athletes are because they just happen to be very good at Twitter. That it's American, and I want to say, hey, wake up, Americans! You love Michael Jordan; he's the best in the world. You love, all the athletes who are the best in the world, you love that. But somehow with the fight game, it's like if you talk a lot and nowhere close to being the best in the world, that's acceptable. For us, we're much more purist about that.
Rodtang, welcome to America. You got a hell of a response from the crowd. Were you surprised at people were so excited to see you fight here?
ถามว่าตกใจป่ะแฟนๆอเมริกันเขาแบบรักอยู่แล้วแบบเขาดีใจดู
ก็ผมตกใจมากครับเหมือนผมชกประเทศไทยเลยผมรู้สึกเป็นเกียรติมากที่ผมได้อยู่ในใจของทุกๆคนในวันนี้แล้วก็ทั่วอเมริกาผมต้องขอบคุณมากๆจริงไม่คิดไม่ฝันเลยตั้งแต่เล็กจนมาถึงวันนี้ผมได้เห็นจริงๆว่าการต่อสู้มวยไทยทำให้ผมอยู่ในใจของทุกคน
Yeah, he said he was shocked. He had no idea that the Americans would respond the way, or that he already had a fan base in America. He just shocked, and that he's just very grateful. He just never thought, as a child, struggling in poverty, that he'd be here.
And for DJ, I wouldn't say we have one GOAT on stage. We have two GOATs in two different disciplines, and obviously you two gentlemen are very familiar with each other. Were you surprised? I don't know if you heard it while you were actually in the cage, but at one point Rodtang walked out and all the fans were chanting his name during your fight. Did you hear that, or did you know that was going on?
I heard the fans chanting his name when I was in the back, and Rodtang's a huge star here. When I was getting ready to fight him, when One Championship offered that fight to me, I was like, yeah, I'm going to take it because all my friends, they don't watch mixed martial arts, right? But then when I was like, yeah, man, I'm going to fight somebody Rodtang, like, you fight him? You fight Rodtang? I was like, y'all know who Rodtang is? He goes, oh, that's a bad motherfucker. I absolutely know who he is. So, yeah, I mean, he's a superstar. And like Chachi was saying, like, the brand, we have true authenticity. Like Rodtang's legit. Like, he's the purest of not mixed martial arts, Muay Thai striking, and he's a GOAT in Muay Thai. So you just put Rodtang out there, and Rodtang's gonna do his thing, and he's gonna get millions and millions of fans around the world.
Shatri, how do you feel having these two gentlemen on the stage with you right here? I mean,
but here's the thing: our entire rosters feel this way because we literally have close to 200 athletes that have won world titles across different disciplines before joining one, who are in the prime. We truly have the most. If you just lined up, the top three global organizations, and you lined up how many titles did their athletes win prior to joining the organization, ours is by far, like, not even close. I mean, maybe other organizations will have 10, 20. We actually did the math on it, right? Literally, we have 200 athletes who are like Rodtang or DJ who won it at Apex organizations before joining the Apex organization of one. And then you look at the other organizations when they come in, even look at Roberto. He was 2-division KSW. They had no more points. He ran through everybody in Europe. Everybody. He comes here, gets knocked out. You see that trend a lot. It's just everybody knew coming in. Only DJ. He did get knocked out too, though, but only DJ. Yeah, exactly. But only DJ. But I think that adds to his legend. Getting knocked out and coming back and winning, knocking him out and then coming back and winning. So that adds to his legacy. That it's not the undefeated guy that's amazing. It's the guy who's willing to fight everybody and anybody, any rule set. That to me is impressive. As a martial artist, like, yeah, if you find a very narrow, defined rule set, unified MMA rule set, well, yeah, does that make you the best fighter in the world? No, it doesn't. But if you start doing crazy stuff like DJ fighting mixed rules super against a Muay Thai legendary KO artist, you start doing all this other stuff, you win the two titles, the two most prestigious belts on the world on opposite sides of the planet. Nobody's ever done what DJ has done. Full stop. That to me is legacy. That to me is GOAT material.
Emily May with Sportskeeda. Rodtang, I have a question for you. We saw that you were out for the main event. We obviously heard those cheers. But as you were watching the main event, what were your thoughts?
ตอนดีเจชกแล้วถังออกมาแล้วก็แฟนๆมันเชียร์แล้วก็ถังคิดอะไรตอนดูดีเจชก
ก็เขาก็เหมือนตำนาน MMA ผมได้เคยชอบเขาแล้วแบบเขาเหมือนมันเป็นไฟที่ผมจำแล้วก็เป็นไฟที่ผมกล้าที่ตอบรับข้อเสนอบอสจาตีในการชกกับดิมิทริส จอห์นสันเพราะว่าผมรู้แล้วว่ามันน้อยมากที่ผมจะชนะเขาแต่ผมอยากผ่านความกลัวตรงนั้นถ้าผมปฏิเสธตรงนั้นไปผมก็จะกลัวตลอดผมเลยเลือกที่จะชกกับเขาผมชนะใจตัวเองนะถึงแม้วันชกผมจะแพ้ผมก็ดีใจที่สุดแล้วครับ
So he actually went off on a tangent. He said, DJ obviously is the greatest, and so he's a fan. And that when we gave him the opportunity to fight DJ, he said yes, even though he thought he would lose. He really thought he was going to lose because of the MMA, so he really, but he's still, it goes down for him, win or lose. It was I guess, an opportunity of a lifetime to be a face the GOAT. And to this day, that's the most watched fight in one because there's so much curiosity, right? And we will do other super fights like that in the future. But he has nothing but love for DJ.
And DJ, this question's for you. What was the reception of your family after tonight's fight? And what is your legacy that you want to have here at One Championship?
The reception was amazing. To see my kids, it was funny because everybody's like, oh man, when you see your kids, outside the cage, you're going to just, you're going to get nervous. I was like, no. I was like, I've been doing this for a long time. So when I got in the cage, I turned around and I saw Maverick and Tyler. I was like, hey, what's up, guys? Hey, what's happening, boys? And it felt really good, because I never thought in my lifetime that I'll still be competing at this age and be able to, look outside the cage and see my kids. So that's I remember I'll ever have to my heart. And, I love One Championship. I love the home of martial arts. I love being surrounded by so many great athletes with different disciplines, right? And just to hear the different, dialect, be around the best Muay Thai athletes in the world, the best kickboxers around the world, and even the best submission grapplers around the world, the Bertola brothers, Mikey Musumeci. I'm just truly grateful, and my legacy here at One Championship is just an athlete who came here, worked hard, and fought everybody they put in front of me, and, very easy to work with, too. Like, when they asked me to fight Rodtang, it wasn't like, well, I want MMA to be first. I think MMA should be first, and then we'll do Muay Thai. I was like, whatever you guys want. I'm easy guy.
But that's what makes DJ special. He'll fight anybody, anywhere, under any rule set. You tell me what other athlete will do that. Okay, and again, that's why, when you say GOAT, you got to strip away the marketing. You got to strip away the rhetoric that all organizations, including us, we're obviously marketing, right? You got to strip that away. You really got to look at the skill set. Ask expert martial artists, and they will tell you this guy is the GOAT.
Last question over here.
Congratulations, DJ. Now that everything's over, you retain the title. Could you talk a little bit about, did you feel any pressure being the headliner on this huge event, one's first event in the US, and especially after that incredible main card, it seemed to build and build and build to a real crescendo. Did you think, oh God, this is it, I've got to go out there and put the cherry on top of the cake here? Was that going through your head at all? No,
not at all. I believe in my skill set. I believe in my brand, and I've always believed in myself. I know when they pay me to fight, and every single time I go out there, I fight. I give it my all. Like, I'm always looking for the finish. So, I didn't get it, but I showed a lot of good clinch work, trying to finish him, using the shoulder shrug, because he's a lot taller, and he was trying to, bear hug me, trying to pop him up. But no, I knew that I was going to go out there and put on a great fight, and I think Rodtang killed it too, and then so forth and so forth. And I think all the athletes tonight did a great job.
And the crowd was incredible all night. Just one sad thing for me was, they booed Adriano. Did that upset you a little bit?
No, it's America. I mean, it's... I've been there. I mean, America, we are united, right? Like in certain aspects, right? So I am a hometown guy. I've been fighting here for a very, very long time. So they'll let you know they don't like you. I've gone into places and they're like, "Boo, Demetrious, you suck." And I'm like, "That's okay. You're gonna love me after this fight, though." So I've won the crowd over. And at the end of the day, I'm sure they have nothing but love for Adriano, and I have nothing but love for Adriano. But that's America, man. It is what it is.
All right, and this is one for Rodtang. Congratulations as well. Now that you won, could you maybe talk a little bit about this week? A lot of people were questioning whether you were going to make weight, whether you were going to struggle with the altitude and the cardio, and you look quite relieved at the weigh-ins. I know when you made weight, you were pumping your fist. How was that process this whole week?
ก็ถามว่าชั่งน้ำหนักกลัวเปล่าตอนอาทิตย์นี้มันยากทุกคนแฟนๆบอกว่าไอ้ถังจะชั่งก็เปล่าแล้วก็อย่างนึงเราอยู่ในคือแบบหายใจไม่ออกด้วยมันไม่มีออกซิเจนในสูงมากถังคิดยังไง
ก็สำหรับเรื่องน้ำหนักผมก็คิดว่าผมได้เพื่อนซีใหม่ ก็คือไมกี้เขาก็ได้ช่วยก็ถือว่าผ่านไปด้วยดีแล้วก็ส่วนเรื่องอากาศผมคิดว่าที่อเมริกาเหมือนบ้านผมนะครับผมไม่ได้รู้สึกเหนื่อยอะไรเลยครับปกติมาก
So he said he's very good friends with Mikey Musumeci, and Mikey was his buddy in terms of helping him lose the weight and nail the hydration. So he's very grateful to Mikey. And then in terms of America, he says America's like Thailand. He didn't feel any effect of the high altitude at all.
And just one more for you, Rodtang. I know you said you want Jonathan Haggerty next at bantamweight. I spoke to Liam Harrison, who says he wants Jonathan Haggerty next. Why do you think you should get in front of Liam Harrison in the line?
Liam Harrison เขาอยากชกกับ Haggerty แล้วก็เขาบอกว่าทำไมถังจะชกกับ Haggerty ด้วยแล้วคือแบบ Liam เขาเอาก่อน แล้วถังจะตอบยังไง
ผมก็ต้องแล้วแต่บอสชาทีเพราะผมคิดว่าความท้าทายใหม่ของผมมันก็มีมากขึ้นทั้งโจทาน Haggerty แล้วก็ทาเครุที่เพิ่งเซ็นสัญญามาผมพร้อมเจอได้หมดครับ
Yeah, he says it's up to me, but he wants to fight them all, and he wants to fight Haggerty. He definitely wants to fight Takeru. He wants to fight them all.
Does that include Superlek as well? I know you told me that you want more ties as champions, but a lot of fans really want to see you in Superlek. How long are we going to have to wait for that fight?
แฟนๆทั่วโลกเขาอยากดูถังกับSuperlek แล้วก็เราคิดยังไง
ก็ผมได้หมดครับเพราะผมเป็นแชมป์กติกามวยไทยไม่ว่าจะเจอใครผมยินดีหมดครับแต่ผมคิดว่าผมกับพี่ซุปเปอร์เล็กเราก็เป็นมวยไทยเหมือนกันคนไทยเหมือนกันก็อยากจะรักษาทุกสถาบันทุกกติกาไว้ที่ประเทศไทยผมก็เลยคิดว่าความท้าทายใหม่ๆของผมเนี่ยเจอโจทาน Haggerty หรือว่าทาเครุมันคิดว่ามีความท้าทายใหม่เพิ่มเข้ามาผมก็เลยเลือกที่จะท้าโจทานกับทาเครุก่อนนะครับ
So he's willing to fight anybody, including Superlek. But he just thinks, from a Thailand perspective, Superlek's a Muay Thai athlete holding the kickboxing belt, and he holds the Muay Thai belt. It's just better for Thailand. But he's willing to face anybody. But he really wants to fight Haggerty and Takeru right now.
All right, that'll do it for the Q&A portion of the One Fight Night 10 on Prime Video post-event press conference. Closing statement from Chatri before we wrap.
I just again want to thank all the American fans who showed up to support today in Denver, Colorado, but on Amazon Prime. I predict we will break viewership records on Amazon as well. And truly, from the bottom of my heart, everyone around the world, thank you so much for supporting. And man, this is the beginning of one in America. And thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. Thank you.